To actually see the percentages, we could just go ahead and change the value field settings for count of sale for each of the two tables. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take both of these, highlight both of those tables, copy them, and I'm going to paste them right beside. Now, you don't have to do this. The reason I'm doing this is just because I want to be able to go back and reference the raw counts. You don't have to do this way. I'm just doing this for so that I can go back and reconcile to this data. Because anytime you change the percentages, you want to make sure that the percentages are going off of the right total. So we want to go off of the third and fourth quarter total, so 20 and 30, 9 and 5 for each of these two companies. So for Cupco, I'm going to change the value field settings to show the value as a percentage of the column total once again. So I should see, good, 50-50, 10-10 out of 20, 4 out of 20, 4 out of 30, 13.33 sounds right. I'm going to do the same thing here, value field settings, and I'm going to change the show value as to percent of column total. Click OK, and I've got the percentages now. And the question was, who did better across the two quarters? Well, the numbers I want to stare at are these numbers here, and I'm going to highlight in yellow the numbers that I'm staring at. So Cupco dominated, or at least not dominated, but beat Plastico in the third quarter. Cupco also beat Plastico in the fourth quarter. So one might say, oh, by far, Cupco's doing better, so maybe we should consider, if we're consolidating companies, to eliminate Plastico. Now I'm going to highlight these one more time. I'm going to paste them right beside. I know it's probably getting kind of annoying now, but the reason I'm going to do this is the next question says that if we ignore quarter, does the story remain the same? So to ignore quarter, I'm just going to look at the totals across both of the quarters. So I'm going to eliminate the quarter variable from both of the two tables so that I'm just looking at the percentages of all the sales they made. But now I notice that Plastico actually did better overall than Cupco. So if I look at it by quarter, the story is different, but when I look at it across the quarters combined, then the story changes. And this is actually often called Simpsons Paradox. And Simpsons Paradox says that if you look at data piecemeal, that it may, in other words, split up, chunked up, that it may look different than the way it looks when it's aggregated as a whole. And so that's known as Simpsons Paradox. Okay, so we have Simpsons Paradox defined. Well, not really. We kind of just said it in words. Simpsons Paradox is when you look at data as split up across some factor, in this case the quarter, but when you look at it aggregated, the story changes. The percentages are actually different. So maybe eliminating Plastico is not a good idea because they actually did just as good as Cupco, if not a little bit better. Okay, now we want to calculate the mean, median, min, max, and range of the data for all the quarters combined. What does this seem to indicate? So let's just look at the entire corporation. So to do that, remember, we need the raw data. We need to go back to the raw data. From our data tab, we're going to select data analysis. And instead of calculating these individually, we're going to select the Descriptive Statistics analysis tool. So Descriptive Statistics, select the input range. So I'm just going to click off to the side here, and I'm going to highlight all of my data. Don't worry how I did that so fast. I want to have it grouped by columns. Label is in the first row, and I want to show the summary statistic. I'll just put it in a new worksheet ply. That'll create a new worksheet. Oh, I'm sorry. We actually don't want to select all the columns because only the profit is the numerical column. So we actually, for this, we'll only drag in the numerical values that we want to analyze. So in this case, we should just look at revenues. Creates a new tab, and of course we should label our tab to indicate that this is problem 1G. And now we can see that the mean, median, range, min, max are all here. So what do we see? On average, a sale will result in about $500,000. Now this is, remember, this is yes and no's combined. We didn't actually filter anything out. If we wanted to filter something out, we would actually have to filter it before we created the descriptive statistics. So I'm just going to do two separate tables to kind of compare